a lot is talked about in this field when it comes to tools and, Burp Pro versus OAuth Zap versus Community Edition and all this stuff, right? A lot of these technical terms thrown around, these tools, but at the core of it is the mindset, the methodology of a pen tester. Focus on fundamentals and it will carry you farther than any, individual tip or trick could ever do. And so that's what we're going to do. If that sounds interesting to you, stay tuned. That'll be the focus of this video. What is up, guys? This is Ryan from elevatecyber. We're going to elevate our game here today. We're going to be talking about the mindset of a pen tester. So with pen testing, there's a certain personality type that succeeds here, but I will say, no matter who you are, anyone can provide value to a security team, even on the offensive side, even as a pen tester. So don't think that because you're maybe wired a little bit differently just naturally that you can't be of value here. But there is a certain commonality, a certain mindset. And this is something that if it's not your natural inclination, you can develop this and you can be successful as a pen tester. Now, the way that pen testers think, first and foremost, is it's one of curiosity, a mindset of curiosity, okay? And this is something you probably heard before when people were talking about pen testing, but it is very true. So a lot of it is just being curious, like what if I, the application expects this particular kind of data. Well, what if I instead gave it this kind of data? Oh, okay, well, it threw this error. Well, what if I try, this here instead of this? And it's just this constant tinkering based off of this curiosity. That's where it all starts, that curiosity. And you also have to have along with that, you have to be patient. Now, it's easy to get caught up in the flashiness of it, right? You go on, for example, HackerOne or BugCrowd or one of these bug bounty platforms. You can look at the hacktivity, you can look at the payouts that people have gotten, and you might notice like these huge bounty payouts, $50,000, $40,000, $25,000, whatever, right? And that's the end result that you're seeing, but what you're not seeing is all of the work that went behind it, the methodology, the mindset that pen tester, that security researcher had to have in order to even get that bounty in the first place, in order to even find that vulnerability, especially when it comes to these high payouts. I can almost guarantee you that the vast majority of them were very time intensive. And now that goes into a whole nother topic of the ROI of bug bounties. Is it worth it or not, right? That's another topic. I'm not going to get into that. But what I will say is that behind any great finding, the majority of the time, of course, there are edge cases, but the majority of the time, it involves a lot of that curiosity, a lot of time. You got to be patient with this stuff. You got to be, and that's why the OSCP is so good, right? That try harder mentality. OSCP does a great job of teaching you the methodology of a pen tester. I will say that as well. So if you guys have a passing interest in it, go for it. It will help you a lot just to develop your mindset, the mindset you need to succeed in this area. But most certainly, just being patient and just tinkering with stuff and, refusing just to give up if you don't get something right away. I think that's particularly challenging in today's world here in 2021, right? Everything is on demand. Everything is instant. Our brains have become conditioned to this instant gratification, right? And that's why I think it's really important to immerse yourself in activities. Maybe it's not even security, right? Even with your hobbies, if you're really intense like me, right? Immerse yourself in things that are hard and things that are challenging and things that don't give you instant gratification, right? Like I play cello. There's no instant gratification in that whatsoever. You pick up a cello the first time, you are absolutely terrible. It sounds awful, right? And even years later, you're like mediocre, right? Play an instrument or something. That's one thing you could do. Because what it does is it conditions your brain to not need that instant gratification or to do something without even getting to see the fruits of your labor, right? Maybe down the line you will, but that's not the goal, right? The goal is the journey, right? The journey is whatever that saying is, kind of cheesy or whatever, but it's true, right? The journey is like the destination, basically. So, but yeah, I think there is value in those activities, right? Maybe you're a gamer, right? Play something hard, right? Don't just play something easy where you get instant gratification. Play one of those like esport type games. Play like StarCraft or League of Legends, something that's like you're not gonna be just killing it, instant gratification right off the bat. You're gonna have to develop your skill set. You're gonna have to stick it out, and you're gonna have to improve at it, right? Maybe you're not a gamer. There's other options, right? Like the instrument route. Maybe it's language learning, right? That's something that there's not too much instant gratification. Now, I guess with some of the apps nowadays, they design it in such a way that you do get some of that, but that is a hard activity, and it might take a while before you see the fruits of your labor. But you get the idea, right? So you want to really just get used to this, because this is going to help you as a pen tester. Because a lot of times when you're looking for these vulnerabilities, there is no instant gratification to be found, the vast majority of the time, especially in the context of, say, a web app, for example, but this applies to any other area of pen testing as well. You might have tons of different form fields, potential injection points, and you just need to try all of them, right? You just need to inject like some cross-site scripting or some server-side template injection payloads into all of these, and probably the vast majority are not going to pay off. You're not going to find anything. But if you gave up, you might have missed that one form field on this page that actually is injectable, and you would have missed that vulnerability. You would have missed out on that because you didn't have patience, because you didn't persist and you didn't try harder, if you will, right? And so just having, if you can enjoy this stuff, right? If you can enjoy it, then it's going to make it easier. I mean, there's no other way of saying that. Like, it's absolutely true, right? So don't get so caught up in the findings, right? You will eventually find some stuff if you stick it through. And when you do, it will be a lot easier to continue on your journey, right? The hardest part is in the beginning, because it's a steep mountain to climb, right? It's one of those tasks, right? The harder tasks are also more fulfilling at the same time, right? But in the beginning on these tasks, they're more difficult, right? Like the things that I mentioned before, like language learning, playing an instrument, gaming, depending on what you're playing, pen testing, no different, right? It's a steep mountain to climb in the beginning, and it's going to be hard to get to that positive feedback loop, if you will. So an example of that, if you're not familiar with the term, just meaning that point where you get that positive reinforcement, right? Like maybe it's you find your first finding, you root your first box, whatever it may be. It's kind of a steep mountain to climb to even get to that first win, if you will. You got to celebrate the small wins. That is an extra bonus tip for you guys. You really got to celebrate those, and really, a lot of people focus too much on their losses and how bad it stings or whatever. Focus on the small wins, even if it's the smallest thing, right? But once you do get past that initial hurdle and get to that positive feedback loop, it'll be that much easier to keep going. And this is the nice thing about this is it scales. Like your enjoyment often can scale with like your amount of success in this endeavor here. Basically, like once you get really higher, like a much higher level at this stuff, then your successes are going to come more and more frequently. So you're going to keep immersing yourself in that positive feedback loop. That's how a lot of things work in life. But once you do climb that initial hill, right, you'll always be climbing the mountain, though. That's the thing, right? You'll never be at the summit. That's just the nature of the beast when it comes to pen testing, when it comes to security. But that's also the thrill of it. That's also what makes it so great. You can keep learning, you can keep growing endlessly, right? But the higher and higher you climb up that mountain, the more and more of the positive feedback loops you're going to get, because you're going to more frequently be able to find stuff, and that's going to motivate you, and you're going to have success, and you're just going to feed off of that. And that's why they call it a positive feedback loop. So if you're a complete beginner watching this, stick it through. Keep going until you at least hit that first positive feedback loop. If most likely you will get that rush, you will get that thrill, and then you'll understand it. Then you'll understand why we love pen testing, why we love offensive security. But if you get to that point, don't quit until you get to that point. That's basically what I'm trying to say, right? Because a lot of people, they're going to approach this stuff, they're going to try for a little bit and be like, oh, it's not for me. I'm not really cut out for this, or yeah, it's just not my thing. Here's the thing. You haven't experienced pen testing until you've gotten to that first positive feedback loop. Whether it's like, for me, like when I was in college, using Metasploit and, with the permission of my friends, hacking their laptops through like MSF Venom payload on a USB, like taking screenshots from my webcam. Those were, at the time, those were the positive feedback loops. And that helped me, stick it out and want to learn more and more and more. Find those small wins, find those things. Don't quit before you at least experience the first positive feedback loop. If you experience it and it doesn't do much for you, okay, then maybe this is not for you. Maybe there's something out there that you're more naturally inclined for. But at least stick it out till you get to some of those wins, and then you'll truly know if this is something for you or not. Develop the mindset of a pen tester. And if you want to learn more about developing this mindset or maybe some of the technical skills to go along with it, check out my playlist, What You Need to Know for OSCP. I'll link that on the screen now. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button and help get this message out there to someone who might need a little bit of help developing the mindset of a pen tester. And I will see you guys in those videos.